And guess who got the benefits? The people who were making a lot of money on the run-up in the financial community, the people who were in the derivatives markets, the banks and the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they were making millions, if not billions of dollars. And guess what? When they went bankrupt, they came crying to the Congress and crying to the Federal Reserve and saying, oh, there will be a depression unless you bail out. And they said, we're too big. You can't allow us to fail. So they did. But the people were too small to be heard, but the big guys were too loud and too big to fail. They got the bailouts, and therefore the entitlement system doesn't work for the poor at all. The entitlement principle actually protects the very wealthy. You transfer the wealth from the middle class to the very wealthy. And that is what we have to end, and we have to reverse that. And that has to do with our foreign policy. Our foreign policy is deeply flawed. We're spending well over $1 trillion a year overseas, and it's time we started spending that money here at home. We have more weaponry than all the other countries put together, including China. Nobody's on the verge of attacking us, so we don't have to bow and kowtow to the military-industrial complex. We can defend this country under all circumstances. If we have to go to war, we do it properly. We do it with the permission of the people, voting through their Congress, make the declaration of war, and we don't allow presidents to go to war on their own. That is not right. And that is the reason I can promise you sincerely as president, I would never go to war without a declaration, and we would fight it and win it. If we would have had a system like Jefferson wanted, he wanted to say, pay our bills as we go along. If you want to spend the money, you tax people. People know exactly how much government's costing. But no, they put in the Constitution the government could borrow. That was just the beginning. And we were able to borrow, we borrowed too much, but that wasn't enough for those who wanted the entitlement system and also the warfare system. So that is why they invented the Federal Reserve System, because you can hide the cost. You can borrow money to a certain point, but then it pushes interest rates up. If you didn't have the Federal Reserve, interest rates would restrain the government spending. But because you have a strong dollar, and the dollar was a reserve currency, it used to be a gold standard of dollar, and the people in the world still trust it to a degree. Because of that, we've had this license to go and spend this money at the expense of the American people. Because now we own a huge debt, and as the government gets bigger, the liberties of the people get smaller. And that is the main reason why we have to reverse this trend, because it is liberty that solves our problem. It's not big government. It's very clear in the Declaration of Independence. The founders understood where liberty came from. It doesn't come from the government. Our liberties come from our Creator. And that is the reason why liberty comes from our Creator. Obviously, all the fruits of our labor ought to belong to us and not to the government. Yeah. We have to invent anything new. All we have to do is look at our traditions, and our traditions have been great. We had the free society. We had a good Constitution. All we need, send only people to Washington who actually read the Constitution, believe in the Constitution, will follow the Constitution. Country and many times over the years have been divisive because we've had this belief that rights come by groups. We have a group that demands rights because they belong to a group. You should never get a penalty because you belong to a group, but you should never get a special privilege because you belong to a group. Liberty, and everybody defends liberty, not because we're all going to use the liberty the same way. We'll have different religions, different habits, different personal lifestyle, different ways we'll spend our money. Some will do a better job than others. But if we want to mold other people by force, it doesn't work. But if there is an understanding that we want to defend the cause of liberty because we all want liberty to use it in our way, then we should all come together. We should all... Going to come. I think Super Tuesday's pretty close, isn't it? Today is Tuesday. All right, we're going to find out something very special today, but this won't be the end all. This is a long-term operation. Not only should we do well tonight, we're going to continue to accumulate the delegates, which we have in some of the states that they said we had lost the straw vote. Guess what? We're winning the delegate vote. always stays the status quo. We change parties and we end up with the same policy, same foreign policy, same Federal Reserve, same entitlement system. But right now, I believe an idea whose time has come, and armies cannot stop those ideas. So let's march forward by picking up the pieces and advancing with the cause of liberty and restore the greatness of America.